Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Le Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously. All right, boys, now let's have a look. My bottle here, as I have said,
$87.
I have got a Watershed Awakening Cabernet Sauvignon 2011 from Margaret River. Now, it's an amazing thing that winery only started in 2001.
Wow.
So it's a very young winery. And they are not really using anyone outside the directorship within the family. And if you go to Dan Murphy in Katoomba, you will find this bottle at less than $40.
Right. If anyone's in Katoomba at Dan Murphy's, can you please clarify?
Check and just let us know?
Because everywhere else on the planet, it's how much.
My mates are going to just shout me something for losing. So I did a very good deal. Actually, I wasn't doing a very good deal because when I look at Vivino, it said it's about $25. But then when you go onto websites, it says $89.95.
2013 was $24. That's a 2011.
Same name.
So for those of you who
thing.
don't know, the limit is $50. Thomas always stretches the ability.
I didn't stretch.
He's
I'm
cheated
the
for the
best.
last
I
three
paid way less.
podcasts.
So
But
let's
it's all right.
try this.
We get to drink his wine anyway. I keep bringing them. It's all right.
But listen, boys, as I said, I'm going to be doing something very soon, which is I drink my wine. Do you know, it's like, have you ever been? I've been to those parties in Australia where they turn up with their esky.
Yeah.
And they go into their esky and fucking help themselves, and then they drink their shit, right? And I can't do that.
No.
If I open a bottle and you're in front of me, I go, would you like some? Mate, they don't.
Because everyone's meant to have their own esky. I brought an esky to Veronique's 50th. There was more free alcohol there than I'd ever seen in my life.
When I saw you turning up at the esky, but that's when I realised there's a long way to go.
I'm still fucking scarred from the 2 roadies I took from your house that I didn't forget about for the rest of fucking life. So.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers,
it
boys.
hasn't breathed,
Cheers.
but this wine here is in 2018 was the top 50 wine.
You're a religious man. You'll give it to the Trinity. And God will smite you.
But
The aroma on that, man, that's...
it's deep, blackcurrant,
Bit young, essence of Aldi. Essence of Audi. There's a tint of Woolworths and.
So it was my wine to be Essence of Garage with a tint of...
No, yours was called Essence of Deja Vu because I feel like we've had this before.
What do you think? It hasn't really breathed weight.
No, it needs some time. Needs some time.
Mine didn't need any
Good
time.
start, but
It
needs
was
some time.
religious.
So, do you know...
Like mine wine, yours comes second.
This Cabernet Sauvignon is 100% Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
A lot of
Single
Cabernet
grape.
Sauvignon have got a 5% blend of Malbec. You know, some places like we tasted a few weeks ago, like every 6 vine of Cabernet, they have a Shiraz or vice versa. And no, here it's 100%. Hence, it is 14.5% alcohol.
Yeah, I'm not having any. Good drive.
I know that. You need to look after me. All right, so let's go back, boys, to the next subject, which is Cam's subject.
I want to have a bit of fun.
All right.
So when the market downturned in 2018, everyone, the news and the banks said the market was going to crash by 50%, and it crashed by 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed?
Yep.
And when coronavirus first happened, they said it's going to drop by 33%. They were very exact about it, but 30%. And then 2 months later, the Commonwealth Bank, who said that, changed it to 10%. And then 3 weeks ago, the Westpac came out and said house prices are going to go up 15% over the next 2 years. And much like we just spoke about with interviews, for the first time in a long time, I'm walking into listing appointments, and the first question everyone asks is,
What's happening to the market?
what is, not even where the market's at, where is the market going to go? And it's always been my answer, who the fuck knows, because none of us have that crystal ball. But now more than ever, who the fuck knows?
Right.
So given that we've had JobKeeper, JobSeeker, the budget, things ending in March, elections and all that stuff, and coronavirus still around, I thought we should have a crack at predicting where the market's going to be in March next year.
Yep.
Which is 6 months from now or close to it. And we couldn't be any more wrong than the banks and the finance people and the everyone else has to be. And we're real estate agents, so we're supposed to know because we've got that crystal ball too.
Mate, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be at the casino.
Oh, mate, 100% there's agents going out to listing appointments saying prices are going up and they're going to keep going up. And 100% there's agents going out there saying, oh, mate, market's going to crash by Christmas. You better sell now. 100%. I reckon I'm one of the only blokes running out there to listing appointments going, I don't fucking know, do you? Right,
and that's the truth.
I've got my talking pad and I draw a big asterisk. It says, here's an asterisk. I said, yes. I said, well, that asterisk means the information you're about to hear is valid for 24 hours only. Because in the first week of March, I sold 5 houses. In the second week of March, I thought I'd lost 2 businesses. So I don't have a fucking clue.
Well, listen, I was one of the guys who believed that at the end of this year, there was going to plummet. And I have to say, I did not take into account that our government, with the budget and with the numerous budget, were going to plunge us into that many billions.
I told you they would.
And so, in the end, I am still feeling sad is that our children are going to be the one paying for it. All right? So, we are, for the moment, being resuscitated by a comatose kind of budget to push us into work, which is not going to push us into work. I don't believe these kind of budgets really work.
Don't be negative. And this is meant to be fun.
I think, if anything, it's going to really get us into that kind of artificial kind of thing where people, in the end, afterwards, going to put their hands out anyway. So my prediction for the market, mate, until Christmas and after Christmas, it's going to be hunky-dory.
March next year.
March next year, I truly believe.
Because you know what happens in March next year?
It's still going to go up because I reckon from 100 billions, we're going to go to 200. Yeah. So it's going to be, now that I know that this is how this government's going to do it, but then our children are going to have to be ready.
Someone was supposed to say it was going to crash. One of us has to say it was going to crash.
Well, that'll be you.
No.
I'm not doing it.
No. So you said in September they're going to cut all the funds, and I'm looking at you, Chris, and they wouldn't keep the JobKeeper going. And I said, you're kidding yourself because no government that's in power is going to take everyone's money off them.
You're right in that. And
right.
And
then they extended it till March, right? So then March and everyone's been doom and glooming March, saying, well, that's going to be the financial cliff because that's when the payments are really going to end, right? But what everyone missed 2 weeks ago, very, very quiet, and it was my very last Facebook rant before I deleted it. They've come out and said they're going to abolish all the responsible lending laws that they put in at the end of 2017, which slowed the market down in the first place. And Frydenberg came out and his quote was, we're moving from a responsible lending model to a responsible borrowing model. And I've sat there and gone, right, so we've spent 12 months by then, because it's March, feeding everyone all this stimulus and helping people with their security and money they can rely on. And because we've got to act tough, we're in March, we're going to take all those stimulus away. And this was before the budget this happened, so there's a few more asterisks in there since the budget's come out. But then in March, we're going to undo all the responsible lending laws and we're going to call it responsible borrowing, and we're going to dangle all this money in front of people who have none again, and then we're going to blame them if they dare to take it, even though everyone's on struggle street. You know how the market was between 2014 and 2017 when all these people who shouldn't have been borrowing money was borrowing money? What did house prices do? Fucking stupid. And that is my prediction. And coupled with that, they still haven't removed all the welfare because now it's job maker.
So I think let's move forward. That's for March. What do you reckon by
Christmas,
December next year?
Oh, okay.
We're going 12 months. I wasn't prepared for 12 months.
Oh, man, listen, we're predicting the market, aren't we?
Okay, well.
So I reckon predicting the next 6 months is easy. Everyone can see it. Everyone can see it.
No, well, okay.
The amount of money made, the 250 or what is it?
Well, Christmas.
And then now we have job maker. All of these things, mate, we can see where it's gonna go, right?
All right. Here's
artificial money. It's like a resuscitation machine, mate. You're going to be kept alive. What happens?
I reckon in my markets, in my areas, by Christmas 2021, we're talking about now, they will have grown by 20% because those responsible lending laws are going in March. So then there's all that time. There's at least the next 3 to 6 months of people borrowing money irresponsibly, which is going to push house prices up.
Yep.
It just fucking has to. So I reckon by Christmas, from Gosford to Hornsby, everything will have gone up by 20%. On a national basis, I mean, they're saying Sydney's dropped by 2%, even though my areas have already gone up 10%. So make that figure 10% overall, or 8 to 10% by Christmas, up everywhere except for units in Sydney, would be my prediction. I don't think, because by the end of next year, we're in the election cycle, mate, and no sitting government.
He just said the word.
No sitting government.
He just said the word.
Sorry to steal the words out of your mouth. But election cycle starts towards September next year, and he can call an election at the end of next year, or it's due for March or May the following year. So good fucking luck crashing a housing market when you're about to get re-elected. By the way, the Queensland borders open on November 1st and the Queensland elections on October 31st, just saying.
So generally speaking, a house cycle is what? 5 to 7 years, yeah?
It was 5 to 7 years, now it's 18 months.
I know. And our house cycle from highs to lows is 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, but it crashed in 2018, mate. We're already back to 2017 prices.
So 2000, no, we're not yet.
We are, 100%.
Okay,
I can
so
show
we're
you the
not,
papers.
Okay, so we're not yet. Maybe you are at the Central
Carry
Coast.
on was 685 in 2017. It's now
So
684.
2017 to 2022, that's your 5 years, right? So 2022. So there goes your cycle. So 2021 and 2022 will see increases. Come 2022, the banks will come back out and say, oh, shit, we fucked up again. Let's tighten the laws up, and then we'll see another.
He asked for Christmas next year. Where are we?
I'm giving the prediction for the whole thing. Yeah, absolutely increase. There'll be an increase from this year. It'll be stable to early next year. Early next year, we'll start to get an increase. Stock levels will start to increase. Buyer confidence and vendor confidence will increase coming through all of next year. Following into 2022, I think we're going to see some turmoil.
This is a real shit subject if everyone's going to agree. I don't think there's ever going to be turmoil. You know the problem I have with... I feel sad because our kids are going to have to pay it off. People have been saying that.
$1.1 trillion of debt.
People have been
saying our national deficit.
People have been saying that for 20 years, and I think the way with how fickle government is at the moment, and how we've spoken before, left versus right and populist, they are just going to keep printing money because no sitting government is going to be the one to have the balls to tax the people. When does that happen? And when does that happen? I don't think our kids are going to have to pay it off, mate. When is the point where some prime minister stands up there and goes, okay, I know I've worked for this government and this government and this government and helped design all these problems, but now I'm going to come out and do a Netflix special to bag all these problems. When is it? That's never going to happen, bro, because your choice is do the right thing by the people and lose your job, or stay the prime minister of the country. They're your two options, and we already agree that they're not the prime ministers because they're the smartest minds in the country. They're there for nefarious reasons. Yeah. So, what are you thinking?
No, I agree with you, boys. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be pushed up. But here is the things that I would like to ask: are we doing it for the right reason?
No. Definitely not.
Okay.
No, there's
therefore, only the people with a conscience will feel the impact of this.
Yeah.
The people with no conscience couldn't give a shit. Right? When our children are going to pay more for hospital, for health benefits, because that's how they're going to, for a lot of other issues. Do you know what? What they are looking at is the parents of these children will have to bear the brunt of these things. You know, like I'm sure your children, or even your children, wouldn't be able to go to go on a dole, because on the paper. And I heard about it yesterday on the discussion, so I don't think I'm intelligent. They're going to say how much income your parents on. And based on that, they're going to get nada.
My kids will get 60 grand a year.
No,
but from the age of 18, they're no longer independent.
It doesn't matter. They ask you where you live. All of these things, and your parents going to be able, listen, you think there's only that finite amount of money. So if I take some of my money, put in your pocket, I have to get it from somewhere. That's how it works.
Photoshop.
But we live in a society of credit cards. We live in a society of 5 minutes. We live in a society where things that we get has to be now.
And
right?
you can pay for it later.
That's right. And if it means that our children are paying, why not?
I agree with you on the conscience thing. I made a phone call when this stuff first came out. Someone shared the article on Facebook and said market's going to go crazy over the next 2 years. And I rang this person. He goes, "Brother, we're going to be rich." He's another real estate agent. I said, "Yeah, but mate, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that are fucking broke." And I remember, I got into real estate 2015, so it was a great time to be a real estate agent for that. And I remember, I won't give the address, but there was one sale I made where I questioned what I was doing for a living, and these people, because I'm a great agent, offered probably 50 grand too much for this house, right? And then the valuer came out to do the valuation, and we had a relationship, so we were able to, divulge some information that probably shouldn't have been divulged. But I said, I haven't seen a valuer for a while. She said, "Well, I've got to come out because they're borrowing 98%.
Yeah, wow.
Right? And they were new to the country. And I sat there back and went, I don't know if I should be selling this house to these people, because at 98% paying way too much for the house as it was, one thing goes wrong, these people are destitute, they're gone. And unfortunately, 6 months ago they had to sell that house and I didn't sell it. They got $52,000 less than what they paid for it 18 months prior or 2 years prior. And when you do the sums on the stamp duty, they wanted to pay on the purchase and the...
They're in the whole 70, 80 grand.
Yes, and that is going to happen again. That and the one person who, it was a friendly argument for a change, an actual adult who could have an adult debate. The one person who questioned me on Facebook was a mortgage broker. He said, "Mate, that's not true. People still have to, it'll still be regulated, and I'm, people have been getting knocked back for spending $15 at the pub, and that's ridiculous." And the amount of, I haven't had a single deal fall over because of finance. I don't know about you.
I have, yeah.
Since the responsible lending laws come over. Still selling houses, selling for absolutely great money. And if someone's getting knocked back in air quotes for $15 at the pub, there's other issues going on there. 100% other issues going on there. And I said, "Pete, mate, you might be ethical and congratulations for being ethical, but you're going to dangle that carrot in front of a bunch of desperate people, and that includes mortgage brokers and lenders, and you think that they're not going to take it and the government's going to do a fucking thing to stop it."
Yeah.
You're kidding yourself. And I think we're heading into dangerous times again, and this is coming from someone whose whole living, your whole family's well-being is based off selling houses to people, and I don't agree with what they're doing. That's the conscience thing. And there's people who are going to go, "Great, we're going to be fucking rich, brother," again.
So these people that sold that house, though, Cam, and lost XY dollars, do you know the backstory?
No, nothing. No, nothing.
Because so potentially they could have had an opportunity to buy a house another house that they wanted, and they may have worked their asses off and come into some money or whatever. So it may not.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
But they put it on the market for 50 grand less than they paid for it.
When did you sell it to them? Was it in 2015?
It was either the beginning of 2017 or the end. I can't remember exactly.
Right.
It was right at the top. Right.
Because look, I bought two properties in the middle of 2017. I bought two investment properties, and
I hope you're right. I hope that circumstances prevailed. Fucking oath. But it was the only gut check moment I've ever had as a real estate agent where I've gone, "What are we doing here?"
Yeah.
98%. Who the fuck is lending that?
Yeah.
It wasn't a top tier lender. I remember that. It was one of the.
Yeah.
I won't name anybody, but it was one of those second or third tier lenders.
Yep.
98%.
So I was getting at was the investment properties that I bought that I know if I sold today I'd lose money on them, and I've paid ticket price when I did back then, and I purchased them. But long term, 10, 20 years, property's never a bad investment. And sometimes people get into a position where they have to. You can't control the position people get themselves into.
You can't, but you can control. My wife used to work for one of the big four banks. I won't name the bank, but it was the one that holds most of the
criminal bank.
Yeah, holds the vast majority of mortgages in Australia. So Cam's best ally, we'll call them. And she quit because her KPIs were based on giving credit cards to people that shouldn't have had credit cards. And she couldn't have reasoned that with herself.
Your wife quit mainly because she needed to help you with your show.
No, she quit before then. She
knew you couldn't do it by yourself.
And that's going back. Yeah, no, maybe. But her KPIs were based on someone walks out from the street and she's working in Gosford, man, where not a high socioeconomic, and the people walking in off the street asking for credit cards aren't people who probably should be having credit cards. Shoot me if you're going to shoot me for saying that. And she'd go into a sales meeting, much like we have a sales meeting, and go, well, why didn't you hit target this week? Why didn't you get that person that card and that person that card and that person that card? We're going back there. By them reversing those laws, the government had to have the Banking Royal Commission because the country, for once in their life, kicked up a big enough stink where the Liberal government at the time said, we better have an inquiry. I guarantee at the same time they said, don't worry, people are idiots. They've got a short memory. I need you to bear the brunt of this, to the banks, bear the brunt of this for the next 18 months or 2 years, and then we'll be back to square one. The banks own the government. They couldn't let the banks suffer for too long, not that the banks have been suffering. And then they've announced they've said the day that we reverse JobKeeper for good, we're also reversing the way we responsibly give struggling people money. And for that reason, I can't see the market stopping. I'm young, I'm naive, I might not know anything. But the true answer is when you're going out to a listing appointment, fuck knows. All I know is right here today, there's no stock, cheap money. If you're going to sell, bloody good time.
I want to say something here now, right? I don't think that the market in terms of consumer is going to change from whatever it is today. That's, again, my thoughts. I think that the market is going to change within real estate. We spoke about the leadership now that salespeople expect, but I think that the market in terms of real estate agencies is going to move to individual sales agent. And that's going to be a big move. There's going to be a huge move of maybe not these new guys that are walking in and need to earn $52,000 in a year before they are allowed to go on commission only, but there's going to be a huge number of people who are saying, hold on, I've been working and giving 50% at least of my income to the office. What if I just work by myself and keep most of it? And that's going to be the market that's going to change, boys. That's what I reckon.
I got offered 90% commission the other day by at Realty.
Oh, at Realty.
Yeah. And
retain 95.4% of your commission.
Not only did I get offered 90% commission, I got offered paid on unconditional exchange, not settlement. That's what they're going. But let me ask you this, TL, you're the only one who can answer this, or as a man who has developed and built his own brand, which is franchised.
You just be nice to me.
I wasn't saying it was a good thing. All right. How does that sit with you? If people are going to, if the new real estate is listing with people, not brands or organisations, how does someone who's built a brand and an organisation pivot with that?
You just asked me when I was about to swallow the tea. Like everything else, if your organisation can evolve with that, you're fine. If your organisation is too much into, no, these people work for me and I have to keep them that way, you're doomed. So it's how you work with them.
I have this argument because there's two schools of thought, individual brand versus company brand. And my thoughts are this: yes, I get some listings because that's Cam. He's Cam from Wisebury. But I also get a lot of listings because Wisebury did good by us. You should use Wisebury, not Cam from Wisebury. And I don't think the two things are, at least in the short term, going to be exclusively mutual. I know that if a Wisebury 50 kilometres away from me does the wrong thing by someone, that affects me, regardless of whether I'm Cam or Cam from Wisebury or Wisebury who has Cam. The same way, if you are an individual and I'm Cam Wilson Real Estate with the Wisebury banner next to me, it's still, and I do the wrong thing, people don't go Cam did the wrong thing. People go Cam from Wisebury did the wrong thing by me. Yeah. So the Wisebury name is still tarnished. So there's always going to be the brand above people's heads. I don't even look at that even brand. It might be wrong for me to even say these words now, but if Wisebury cannot change or have given you the life that you have right now, Wisebury should not be what you do, right? The good thing I know about most of our leaders is that their life has enhanced way far, far, far better since they have been touched by Wisebury. And let me tell you, when people come to me and say, I have brought this Wisebury, I say to them, just sit down and shut the fuck up. Mate, Wisebury has made your life what it is.
Wiseberry, in the way that the culture has seeped into, not from you, into your entire organization, has given you the life that you're after. So for you to even start thinking otherwise and starting to do your own thing, be my guest. Go and do it. I spoke to a very, very dear friend of mine, and I have forgiven him for a lot of the stuff that he's done to me since I found out that he even though I demonized him and in my own head, did not want to talk to him until I found out he got married on my birthday. That totally changed me, that maybe there was way more than to his action, that one action should not have determined a person. And so I've changed a lot of my mindset about this, and I can see it. He's broken now. He's trying to get out of what he's doing in the franchise. He said, Thomas, the head franchise, right, is 2 corners from me. They have never stepped foot in my office, right? And I say to people, if Wiseberry has not made a change or a difference in the way you are now behaving or a living life, you shouldn't be with Wiseberry. And this is the key. It's not about just the bottom line. Wiseberry is way bigger than the bottom line, because I've seen people with bottom line who lose their wife, have their children in drugs, have to sell their home and are now renting. I've seen those people. I've seen people who said to me, well, I'm going to do it myself, and now have lost their home, their 2 businesses, right? And really, my question is this: when was your ego was going to be in check? Wiseberry is not just about income; it's about a global thing.
Yeah, my point was, I mean, you make very good points, and I wasn't questioning. What I'm saying is the role for brands. How do you see the role for brand now versus the role for the brand of the individual? It's not about be with Wiseberry or be with McGrath, be with anybody.
I answer your question. If the brand is not giving you more than just money, it's the wrong brand.
No. So
external opinion, not internal.
I'm
opinion.
not making the right point.
You're making the right point. After 2 bottles, it's difficult to make.
You're saying real estate's moving away from where got to be in the suburb, got to have the office, got to have the brand above you. It's going to the individual. So what I'm saying is, how do, as someone who's created a brand, cater for real estate moving to the individual more so than the brand, right?
I think he answered that question within what he just said, that the change.
It's not about leaving.
Life,
I'm not saying leave.
No, what he's saying is that the change in their life. Wiseberry will be that change, will be the cultural change and the growth within that person. I agree with you, Cam. I think moving forward, what real estate is going to evolve because of COVID moving forward, and it'll be a smaller office, much smaller office if there's an office at all, and there may be 5 people in that team, and they'll all work from home under their own.
I still don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's moving completely towards the individual. I know people who think it's all about the individual.
No, not completely.
And I know there's people who think it's all about the brand. As I said,
there's a
one affects the other, because you can't
Absolutely.
be working under a brand and it not affect. So for the people who are saying it's going to move more towards the individual, how as a brand do you compensate for that if that's where people are going to be seeing themselves? That was the question I was trying to ask. Not
without being the franchise owner, you'd want to be able to show your value to those agents, to show them how you're going to help them be a better person.
Well, quite simple. I market our businesses as Wiseberry Carrying and Wiseberry Barrera. I'm not Team Cam. I'm not anything. I formed a little team with Ellie. We call ourselves a Polish and the Punch, and that's funny. But
you're the polish.
I want people calling Wiseberry Carrying. I don't want
sold by Cam.
I don't want people calling.
Is it still going?
Cam from Wiseberry.
Sold by Cam?
No. It's a Polish and the Punch now.
I said to everyone, it's a brand of camera. It's sold by Cam.
That was a fucking good idea at the time. I was ahead of the game, mate, because now everyone's doing it. But as a business owner, I don't want to be the focal point, because that's not what I got into business for. Yeah. I want people calling the office, not calling me.
That's right. You want to grow a team.
So I, as a business owner, publicise and try and build the brand of Wiseberry Carrying On and Wiseberry
but as a
Barrera,
business owner, where do you see your business going in 6, 12, 18, 2 years, 5 years? Do you see as the office you've got now, everyone coming to work 9 to 5, or do you see a smaller office, a receptionist, and you guys all working?
They don't
out
do
the
that
road?
now. No, look, in an ideal world, hub office and hiring people to take care of suburbs within whatever radius, 20 kilometres, 30 kilometres, and you see them when you see them for meetings, and everyone goes about their life. That's what I've wanted to be as a sub. When we talk about the type of leadership that salespeople wanted in our last thing, that's the type of leadership that salespeople want, depending on where they're at in their career. See them for a meeting if you have to. But the utopia is everyone goes out, gets their results, does everything. You never have to see anyone or do anything. That'd be fucking brilliant. I don't. You do have.
Have you been reading my leadership manual, you bastard?
No, I haven't.
Because that's where we're going. And I've spoken about the sub for quite a while.
No, but that would be perfect. You just have hubs.
And now COVID has pushed it. Do you know,
That's
I've
where I
been
think it's
talking
going.
about part-timers for how long now? Right?
Yep.
COVID is pushing.
It's going
I've
that
been
way.
talking about now the workforce now having to just control their own life with variety and freedom of their time.
I see my competitors, and I'm not on top of my competitors yet, but I look and go, the other office that's in Carryong, if Carryong's not going well, they're fucked because they don't sell a house anywhere else. Right? And the other office that's in Barrera, if that's not going well, they're fucked because they don't sell a house anywhere other than Barrera, bar one or two. Whereas since I've been working in the Gosford office, obviously we had agents for many different areas, and in the Carryong office, even though we're not surrounded by such a dense population, it's still the same. We want market share in every suburb that surrounds us, not just one.
Yeah.
Having the office in Carryong works great for the Carryong people, but only the Carryong people. It doesn't work good for the Point Clare people, and it doesn't work good for the Summersby people, and having an office in Barrera Heights works great for the Barrera people, but the Mount Colah people don't give a shit because every other person servicing Mount Colah comes from Hornsby. So we're already doing that to a sense. Where we've been different and where we need to evolve is, even though we've been doing that, and the majority of our offices do service multiple suburbs, is it's still been very much get into the office, sit at your desk, mark out your prospecting calls. I need to know where you are at every minute of the day, when common sense would suggest if at the end of the month the figure on the board says above target or at target, as a business owner, you're fucking stoked. And again, Thomas is right. He's been saying it for a while. It makes sense, and it has made sense for a long time. And as a person who inherently loves his freedom, that would be a fucking great environment to work with. No one was transitioning to it, or very few were transitioning to it. Now COVID's forced it.
Yep.
And that, again, is a what?
Silver
What colour
lining.
is it? What precious metal is? It's
gold.
this bloke who wanted to
Gold
fight
silver
me
lining.
wants to fight me about no silver linings. We've only come up with 34 today.
It was.
Yeah, it was a good podcast.
And that, mate,
I had
that'd
a
be
guy
ideal.
calling me and they said, made that podcast about persuasive agents. I love it. I love that point. And I was thinking to myself, no, mate, my no lining podcast was better.
I know, and you're not a business owner. I know you'd prefer to work in an environment where there was less have to and more want to, right? That's you do what you want as long as the numbers are on the board. Who wouldn't want to work better in that environment? I don't know anyone who wants to be strapped to a desk.
I look at it as if I was a business owner, the people I'd want to employ I would want people that would want I want to succeed, not have to succeed. Wow.
Thanks very much, boys, for today.
Well done.
Cheers,
Who
mate.
won?
Come on.
right.
Did we have to ask?
Obviously it was mine. Jeez, what's the
I think
fucking...
mine was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It was second.
Did we have to
First,
ask?
second. TL. T starts with third. There we go.
I prefer mine.
All right, turn the podcast off.